In a quiet two-story home tucked within a peaceful Seattle suburb, Emily Johnson sipped her morning coffee, her eyes fixed on the snow-draped mountains rising beyond the garden. Her habit of waking early had lingered long after her nursing days ended. From the kitchen, the clinking of a spoon against a bowl signaled that her 5-year-old daughter Sophia was already awake and busy with her breakfast. "Mommy, we have show and tell today at school. What should I bring?" Sophia's curious mind was years ahead of her age, and her inquisitive tone made Emily smile. With her jet-black hair tied into neat pigtails, the little girl peered up at her mother with wide brown eyes, her father's eyes. "What about your favorite doll? Or the clay animal you made last week?" Sophia tilted her head thoughtfully. "I want something really special. Something nobody will expect." Emily brushed her daughter's hair affectionately. Sophia had always been unusually perceptive, surprising the adults around her with the sharpness of her memory and attention to detail. Her husband, Michael, had already left for work, a project manager at an IT firm. He was devoted to both his job and his family. But with a major deadline looming and a week-long business trip on the horizon, his schedule had been relentless. As Emily began braiding Sophia's hair, her phone rang. The screen displayed Rachel's name, her sister. A glance at the clock showed it was just 7:30 a.m. Rachel rarely called this early. "Morning, Rachel. You're up early," she answered. The voice on the line was hoarse and strained. "Sorry for calling so early." Normally bubbly and full of energy, Rachel taught 4th grade and had always been a morning person. But today something was off. The sisters had remained close since childhood, speaking often even into adulthood. During Rachel's 5 exhausting years of fertility treatments, Emily had been her constant support. Through the heartbreak of each failed attempt, the crushing expectations, and the endless waiting. 3 weeks ago, a miracle had finally come. Rachel gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Emily had rushed to St. Mary's Hospital the day of the birth, her heart overflowing as she glimpsed her tiny niece through the glass. The baby had soft black hair and delicate features. But after that day, Rachel withdrew. She declined visits with vague excuses. Emily was turned away more than once by nurses saying Rachel wasn't well enough for visitors. While it wasn't unusual for new mothers to need rest, 3 weeks of isolation felt troubling. "Are you okay? Is something wrong?" Emily asked, concern creeping into her voice. "My health." Rachel's voice quivered. I need your help. I'm in a really bad place." Emily nodded silently, motioning for Sophia to finish her cereal as she stepped away. Rachel's voice carried a desperation she wasn't used to hearing. Always the strong one, the caregiver, Rachel rarely asked for help. "Whatever it is, you can tell me. I'm here." Sob came through the line. "Thank you. I don't know what else to do." Emily's heart tightened. This was supposed to be the joyful chapter Rachel had fought so hard for. But something had clearly gone wrong. Her mind leapt to the possibility of postpartum depression, something she'd seen firsthand during her nursing career. "Rachel, listen to me. I'm here for you. You don't have to go through this alone. Can you tell me what's going on?" Her voice, calm and gentle, seemed to help. "I need to be admitted." "I'm not well," Rachel choked out. "Can you take the baby? Just for a few days? Please." Emily froze. Caring for a newborn wasn't a small ask. But the pain in her sister's voice left no room for hesitation. "Yes," she said softly. "Bring her over. We'll take care of everything." "Of course, Rachel. But if you're feeling that bad, shouldn't you call an ambulance?" "No," Rachel replied quickly, her voice edged with panic. "It's not that urgent. The doctor just wants to run some tests. They said I might need to stay a few nights. But I can't leave the baby by herself." Emily's brows drew together. Had something gone wrong during the delivery? Or was this a postpartum complication? Her former nursing instincts stirred with quiet concern. "What about Tom? Is he out of town again?" "Yes, he's on a site visit. Won't be back until next week. That's why." "You're the only one I can ask." Rachel's husband worked in construction and was often away for long stretches, supervising projects. Emily felt a pang of empathy. Her sister's timing couldn't have been worse. I understand. Michael's flying out to Seattle tomorrow for work, so I'll be home. I still remember how to care for newborns. Really? Rachel's voice trembled with relief. Thank you. Truly. I'll bring her over this afternoon. After the call ended, Emily sat down beside Sophia and explained the situation. Her daughter's face lit up like a sunrise. A baby's coming. Hooray. It's like getting a real-life doll. She's not a toy, sweetheart. She's tiny and fragile, so we need to be extra gentle with her. I will. I'll be the best big sister ever. Emily smiled, touched by her daughter's sincerity, but unease still nagged at her. There had been something off in Rachel's voice. At 2 p.m. sharp, the doorbell rang. When Emily opened the door, her breath caught. Rachel stood there, pale and exhausted, her frame thinner than Emily remembered. Deep shadows clung beneath her eyes. In her arms, she held a swaddled baby wrapped in a soft white blanket. Rachel. Emily stared at her, stunned. You look. Are you okay? You've lost so much weight. Rachel forced a brittle smile. Just postpartum stuff. It's been rough. But this little one's doing fine. Her name is Olivia. Emily peered down at the baby nestled against her mother's chest. Olivia's face was calm, her breathing slow and even. A soft tuft of black hair poked from beneath the blanket. She's beautiful. May I hold her? Rachel hesitated. Oh, she's asleep. I'd rather not wake her. Just then Sophia ran down the stairs. Aunt Rachel. Is that the baby? Can I see? Rachel's smile didn't reach her eyes. Hey, sweetie. You've gotten so big. Sophia gasped when she saw the baby. She's so tiny. Like, tiny. Rachel set 2 hefty bags near the doorway. Here's everything you'll need. Diapers, clothes, bottles, formula. It's all packed. Emily blinked. The bags were enormous. Far more than she'd expected. It looked like Rachel was preparing for a long-term stay. This is a lot for just a couple of days. Better to be over-prepared, right? Rachel said quickly. Didn't want to forget anything. They moved into the living room, and Rachel gently placed the baby on the couch cushions. Emily leaned in to get a better look, but Rachel abruptly stood up. Well, I should go. My appointment's soon. Wait, Rachel, hold on. I need to know her routine. When she eats, how much, how she sleeps. Oh, right. Every 3 hours. The amounts are written down. Nothing unusual. She's pretty easy. But something wasn't sitting right. Emily had cared for many new mothers. Most of them rattled off every detail about their babies without needing to be asked. Yet Rachel seemed eager to leave, avoiding eye contact even with her child. What about her pediatrician? Emergency numbers. Rachel's eyes flickered. If there's an emergency, just call 911. My phone might not work for a bit anyway. Emily frowned. Why wouldn't it work? Reception issues at the hospital. It's complicated. Rachel fished a bottle from one of the bags and handed it over. This should be good until her next feeding. Thanks again, Really? Without waiting for another word, she turned and walked toward the door. Rachel, wait. Emily followed her, heart thudding. Are you sure you're okay? If something's going on. There's nothing, Rachel replied, her voice distant. She didn't turn around. I'll be back in a few days to pick her up. Just please take good care of Olivia. The sound of her car faded down the street, leaving an eerie stillness in its wake. Emily returned to the living room. The baby was still asleep on the sofa, her tiny chest rising and falling with quiet breaths. Mommy, Sophia whispered, crouching beside the sleeping infant. She's really cute. Like a real doll. She is, Emily replied softly, forcing a smile. But something inside her tightened. The unease hadn't faded, It had only grown. That evening when Michael came home from work, she filled him in on everything. He crouched down to peer at the baby and gave a gentle smile. "She's precious. Rachel must be under a lot of pressure. It's good you're helping out. But I get what you're saying. Something's off." Emily nodded, her arms crossed. She wouldn't even look at the baby. It felt wrong. "Maybe it's postpartum depression," Michael offered. "That can mess with how moms connect. She might have felt overwhelmed and needed space. You being here probably gave her some peace of mind." The next morning, Michael caught an early flight to Seattle, and Emily was left alone with the baby. She threw herself into the rhythms of newborn care. Feedings, naps, diaper changes. Olivia responded calmly to all of it. She barely cried. But by day 3, Emily's anxiety had shifted from quiet suspicion to active dread. There hadn't been a single word from Rachel. No texts, no calls. Not even a brief check-in. Emily kept glancing at her phone, expecting it to light up, but nothing. And then there were the baby items. All of Olivia's things, blankets, onesies, bottles, formula containers, were pristine. Some still had tags on them. Everything looked straight off a store shelf. There was no evidence of 3 weeks of use. No worn fabrics. No half-empty lotion bottles. It was like Rachel had packed a showroom. Even stranger, there were no photos. Not one picture of Olivia on Rachel's phone. Not even a mention of snapping a photo at the hospital. What mother didn't want to preserve those first moments? One afternoon, Sophia tugged on Emily's sleeve. "Mommy, when's Aunt Rachel coming back to get the baby?" "Soon," Emily answered, though uncertainty made her voice falter. Thursday morning arrived with a slant of sunlight across the kitchen floor. Olivia lay dozing in a woven baby basket while Emily cooked breakfast. Sophia sat beside the basket, watching her intently. "Mommy," she said after a long pause. "The baby has something weird on her foot." Emily turned. "What do you mean?" "Like a shape. Like a star." Emily crossed the kitchen and crouched down. Olivia stirred slightly, her foot peeking out from the blanket. Sure enough, faintly outlined on the baby's left ankle was a pale, star-shaped birthmark. "Huh. That's unusual," Emily murmured. "But birthmarks come in all shapes." Sophia tilted her head, frowning. "But I've seen that shape before." Then suddenly her face went pale. Her whole body stiffened. "Mommy!" Her voice cracked, her small hands trembling. "We have to get rid of this baby. Right away." Emily stared at her, stunned. "Sophia, what are you saying?" Sophia slowly raised her eyes to meet her mother's. The fear in her gaze was raw, too deep for a child her age. Her lips quivered as she whispered, "She's the same one I saw on the news." Emily's heart dropped into her stomach. "What news? What are you talking about, sweetheart?" Sophia didn't blink. "At kindergarten. Monday. The teacher was watching the news and we saw it too. There was a baby with a star mark on her foot. She went missing from a hospital." Emily's mind raced. Her pulse thudded in her ears. It couldn't be. That was too specific to be a coincidence. She looked down at Olivia, so calm, so tiny, and suddenly felt like the air in the room had thinned. "When was this, Sophia? Do you remember what day?" Sophia counted slowly on her fingers. "Monday. 3 weeks ago. During snack time." Emily's breath caught. That lined up exactly with when Rachel had supposedly given birth. "Do you remember the hospital's name?" "Saint something. St. Mary's, I think." Emily went cold. St. Mary's Hospital. That was where Rachel said she'd given birth. Her legs nearly buckled beneath her. "Mommy, am I wrong?" Sophia looked up at her with frightened eyes. Emily crouched down, wrapping her arms tightly around her daughter, but her voice was hollow. "No, honey. I don't think you are. The police had said, if you come across her, contact us right away. Doesn't this baby deserve to go home?" Emily's fingers trembled. She unlocked her phone and quickly typed, "St. Mary's Hospital missing newborn," into the search bar. Each second felt like a lifetime as the screen loaded. Then it appeared. Newborn abducted from St. Mary's Hospital. Police launch kidnapping investigation. She tapped the headline, heart pounding. As she read, the words hit her like falling bricks. 3 weeks ago, on a Monday morning, a 3-day-old infant was taken from the newborn ward at St. Mary's Hospital. The baby girl, who had black hair and a distinctive star-shaped birthmark on her left ankle, vanished without a trace. Security footage showed a suspicious individual, and law enforcement is treating the incident as a kidnapping. Emily's vision blurred. Black hair, left ankle, star-shaped mark, 3 days old. All of it aligned. Could the tiny, sleeping girl in her living room be the baby the whole city had been searching for? "Mommy, you look really pale," Sophia said, her small voice edged with concern. Hands still shaking, Emily continued searching. The same case appeared across multiple outlets. Scrolling further, she found quotes from the infant's parents. "We just want to hold our baby again. She was only with us for 3 days. If you know anything, please contact the police." Their names were Sarah and James Mitchell. A photo showed them clinging to each other, visibly worn down by grief and sleepless nights. Emily kept reading and found more chilling details in a police bulletin. The infant measures 48 centimeters, weighs approximately 2,800 grams. The birthmark on her left ankle is congenital, star-shaped, and around 1 centimeter in diameter. Authorities are working in coordination with the FBI. Without hesitation, Emily rushed to the sofa and gently unwrapped the baby's foot again. Same size, same place, same shape. There was no longer any space for doubt. "Mommy, is this baby someone else's?" Sophia asked, her voice barely audible. Emily pulled her daughter into a hug. She couldn't bear to explain the full truth. Not yet. But without Sophia's keen eyes, none of this would have come to light. "You're incredibly brave and smart," Emily whispered into her daughter's hair. "You helped Mommy learn something really important. Do you think this baby will get to go back to her real mommy and daddy?" "I do," Emily said, her voice thick with emotion. "Because you saw what others didn't." But inside, questions began to roar louder than ever. What had Rachel done? Why had she brought this baby here? And what happened to the baby Rachel was supposed to have? She scrolled further through the article. One line sent a fresh chill down her spine. The suspect was seen in the hospital parking lot wearing white clothing similar to a nurse's uniform. The woman appeared to be in her 30s. The security footage was blurry. Emily's breath caught. Rachel, though now a schoolteacher, had once worked as a nursing assistant. She would have known the hospital's layout, the routines, the weak points. Emily stared at her screen, struggling to process the impossible. Had her sister abducted another woman's child? And had she used Emily to cover her tracks? Sophia's voice broke through the fog. "That baby's mommy and daddy must be crying a lot." Emily nodded, touched by her daughter's empathy. "Yes, sweetheart. They must be devastated. Then we should tell them. We should let them know she's safe." "Yes," Emily said firmly, wiping at her eyes. "We will." But first she had to try reaching Rachel. She needed to hear her sister's voice. She needed to believe there was some kind of mistake, some explanation. "Sophia, can you stay with the baby just for a moment? Mommy needs to make a very important call." "Okay. I'll take good care of her." Emily stepped away and dialed Rachel's number, her hands trembling. Rang. And rang. Then went to voicemail. Beep. "Rachel, it's Emily. Please call me the moment you get this. It's urgent. We need to talk. It's about Olivia." After ending the call, Emily sat still for a moment, then went back to reading the news articles. With each heartbreaking quote from the baby's grieving parents, the decision became clearer. She dialed Rachel once more, this time leaving a message in a tone that offered no room for evasion. "Rachel, pick up the phone right now. I know the truth. I know who Olivia really is. Come to my house immediately. If you're not here within the next hour, I'm going to the police. Half an hour later, her phone finally rang. Rachel's voice was shaky and small. Emily, what are you talking about? You know exactly what I mean. Emily's voice was level, but her chest was tight with fury and disbelief. Get over here. We need to talk in person. Now. But I'm at the hospital. Enough. Emily cut her off. I've read the articles. The baby who vanished from St. Mary's. The birthmark. The black hair. It's all her. There was a long silence. Then, in a voice almost inaudible, Rachel whispered, I'm coming. An hour later, Rachel stood at the doorstep. She looked completely wrecked. Ashen skin, swollen eyes, and hands clenched as if to stop them from shaking. Emily sent Sophia upstairs. Sweetheart, can you stay in your room and read for a little bit? Mommy and Aunt Rachel need to talk privately. Okay, Sophia replied softly, though her eyes lingered on them as she climbed the stairs, worry etched in her young face. Emily guided Rachel into the kitchen. In the adjacent room, the baby slept peacefully, unaware of the emotional earthquake taking place. Emily turned to her sister, her gaze unwavering. Is this baby really yours? Is she truly Olivia? Rachel's mouth trembled. Of course she is. Why would you even? Don't, Emily interrupted. She raised her phone. I've seen everything. The missing child from St. Mary's. That birthmark isn't just a coincidence. Rachel's composure shattered. She sank into the nearest chair, burying her face in her hands as tears poured out. I didn't know what else to do. Tell me everything, Emily said gently, placing a firm but caring hand on her shoulder. Start from the beginning. Rachel slowly lifted her head, her face blotchy with sorrow. My baby died, she choked. She only lived 2 days. Emily's breath caught. But you said. I did give birth, Rachel said hollowly. But she had a heart defect. They tried, but her tiny body couldn't fight. She died in my arms. Emily blinked rapidly, tears welling up. Her sister, who had endured years of infertility, had finally had a child, only to lose her almost instantly. Why didn't you tell me? She asked. Why not lean on me? Rachel wiped her cheeks, voice raw. I was broken. After all that time, after everything. I just couldn't face saying it out loud. Then, the day after she died, I passed the nursery. And I saw her. She looked just like a second chance. She paused, then continued, her voice thick. I remembered how the staff rotations worked from when I was a nursing assistant. I noticed a gap, just one moment when there weren't enough nurses around. I took her. Emily felt the world tilt beneath her feet. She gripped the counter. You stole someone's baby. I know, Rachel sobbed. I hate myself every day. I didn't plan it, it just happened. I told myself it was fate. But then, when I called you and said I had a daughter, everyone was so happy. I couldn't undo it. And Tom, has he heard any of this? Rachel shook her head weakly. He's still abroad. I kept thinking I'd fix it before he came back. That I'd find some way to. I don't know. But I panicked. I left her with you because I didn't know what else to do. So you dumped her on me to buy yourself time, Emily said, her voice rising with restrained rage. You put me and Sophia in the middle of this? No, Rachel cried. I just needed to think, to breathe. I didn't want to trap you in this. I swear I didn't. Emily turned toward the window, staring at the calm suburban street, unable to reconcile its stillness with the chaos inside her heart. Then she faced Rachel again. What's her real name? Rachel lowered her eyes in shame. I don't know. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I know. Emily stepped closer, her voice steady despite the emotion in her chest. Her parents are Sarah and James Mitchell, Rachel said, her voice cracking under the weight of her grief. They've been searching for her for 3 weeks. She broke down again, her body trembling with sobs. Please, don't report me. Have nothing left. This baby, she's all I have. Emily's voice was low but resolute. She's not yours, Rachel. She has a family. A real one who's been grieving every second since she was taken. But I love her, Rachel cried. Every single day since I took her, I've cared for her like she was my own. Emily sat beside her, gently taking her hands. I know you do, she said softly. And that love is real. But it doesn't make this right. You know it, Rachel. In your heart, you've known all along. Rachel nodded, her tears falling faster. My baby's gone. But she's alive. This little girl still has a chance. She deserves her mother, her father. Yes, Emily whispered. She does. Taking a deep breath, Emily reached for clarity inside her own turmoil. She saw it now, the only way forward. We'll go to the police. Together, she said gently. I'll be with you through all of it. You won't face this alone. For a long moment Rachel said nothing. Then slowly, with a devastated nod, she whispered, Thank you. I don't deserve you, but thank you. Emily pulled her into a hug. They wept. Rachel for what she lost and what she had done, and Emily for the pain of loving someone who had made such a desperate, heartbreaking mistake. At the police station it took hours. Emily sat beside Rachel through every minute, holding her hand as she shared the truth. Her baby's death, the unbearable grief, the decision made in a moment of shattered reason. 3 hours later, Sarah and James Mitchell arrived. The moment their baby was placed into Sarah's arms, everything changed. Emotion rippled through the room like a wave. Joy, relief, sorrow, all tangled together. Thank you, Sarah said quietly, gripping Emily's hands. Without you, we might never have seen her again. James bowed his head. You've ended our nightmare. We're so grateful. Emily gave a silent nod, her heart aching with joy for them, and deep concern for Rachel. In the aftermath, Rachel was evaluated by a mental health professional. Years of fertility struggles, postpartum trauma, and profound psychological distress had fractured her judgment. The court acknowledged her impaired state. She was sentenced to 2 years of probation, with mandatory therapy. Emily offered to be her guarantor. Rachel looked at her stunned. After everything, you'd still do that for me? You're my sister, Emily said. I'm not giving up on you. Over the next several months, Emily accompanied Rachel to every therapy session. At first, Rachel was consumed by shame. She couldn't meet her own reflection. But healing began. Slowly, carefully. One afternoon, as they left a session, Rachel said in a quiet voice, I'm glad she's with her parents. She belongs there. I see that now. I just wish I'd seen it sooner. Emily gave her hand a squeeze. You're seeing it now. That's what matters. 6 months later, Rachel returned to work at the elementary school. Her colleagues welcomed her back with open arms. The children, too, came running with drawings, hugs, and innocent laughter. Her relationship with Tom, once on the edge of collapse, also began to mend. With time, patience, and forgiveness, they started rebuilding what they had lost. The Mitchells sent letters, photos of their daughter's milestones, stories of her progress. Her first giggle, her first word, her first tottering step. Emily shared them with Rachel, who could barely look at first, but over time she smiled. She looks so loved, Rachel said, eyes misting. I'm glad she's thriving. I made a terrible mistake. But at least I was able to make it right. 1 year later, on Christmas Eve, Emily's house glowed with warmth. The tree twinkled in the corner, and the table was full. Michael, Sophia, Rachel, and Tom all seated, laughter filling the air. Sophia looked up, thoughtful. Mommy, Aunt Rachel's our family too, right? Emily smiled. Of course she is. And even if we're not born into the same family, we can become one if we love each other, right? Emily's heart swelled at her daughter's words. Yes, sweetheart. That's exactly right. And that baby, she's back with her real family now, isn't she? Emily nodded, her throat tightening. She is. Where she belongs. Rachel wiped her eyes, smiling through her tears. "Thank you, Emily, for never giving up on me, for bringing me back to what really matters." That night, soft snow began to fall, blanketing the world in quiet white. Emily stood at the window, watching it drift down, and thought, "We all stumble. We all break. But if we love each other enough, we can heal." Somewhere not far away, in another home, the Mitchells held their daughter close. She was safe. She was loved. And in Emily's home, another family, rebuilt from pain, forgiveness, and grace, had found their way back to each other.